Welcome to Fantasy Rugby Draft Mock Draft 2016 for Aviva Premiership. We've got 80 seconds to go here to the start of this draft. I thought I'd put this up on the site just to give folks a bit of an insight or a bit of a view on where players are falling or how it actually works. So we've got 3 auto drafts, if you have a look over here on the right, or 3 auto drafts team. The first 2 actually, which make it a bit interesting, and number 6 is an auto draft team as well. So we just put it out on social to ask folks if they wanted to join at a specific time, and got a good response, so that's cool. So I'm drafting at number 4, the mini face bod. Plenty of options here. Should reiterate, we're in a mock draft, so you want to try and test out a few theories here. I did a draft yesterday where I was number 9, and I managed to get Owen Farrell at that point. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this time, and it looks like the milkman's going to take that decision away from me anyway. But I'm going to do something a little bit different this time and start with an outside back just to see what, because chances are at 4 I probably can get one of the top 4 fly halves, so I should be okay, but it's close to position 5, so I can kind of test it or mock it as though I'm drafting at number 5. So I'm going to go outside back with my first pick, and my choices, I guess, are Viano, Rockandunguni, Good, Beetham, Heem, Wade, who I've taken previously before, but I'm going to stick with the rankings this time and go with Viano and see what it is. See what my team looks like starting this way. I should point out also the music that you can hear, a bit of our drafting music. We like to have a bit of drafting music in the office. Lightens the mood a little bit, gets you a little bit in the zone, if you will, just like you were in the changing sheds. Right, let's see what the picks were on the right. So Owen Farrell went to, so yeah, Just Incredibles picked Andy Good, and then Team B, who was an auto draft, went Danny Cipriani. So, yep, fair call. Interesting to see that Just Incredibles went outside back as well versus Danny Cipriani. I'm curious to see why, so I asked him. See what he comes back with. But the idea of a mock draft is that you don't play it out. We'll delete this draft within a couple of hours of actually happening, but you just kind of test a few of your theories that you've created during the preseason and your rankings, and just to kind of test which picking order, because you don't know your picking order if you're doing an online draft until 2 hours beforehand. So if you can get many different views, if you can draft a few times at 3, at 5, at 9, at 10, that way when you go into your actual draft, you feel a little bit more prepared, and you know what mistakes that you've made previously and how to fix them in the live draft. So let's have a look who we went here. Steenson, yep, so that's a good call. Bagpuss the Great was an auto draft at that point, so he got the highest ranked outside back on the board, and he got Rockandunguni. Let's see what Justin said. As I'm slap bang in the middle, I thought I'd see how this draft goes. Yep, strategy goes. Yeah, that's fair, and we should point out actually that's a good call from Justin. Is if you're at the start of a draft, you're in like the 1, 2, 3 position, or the kind of 7, 8, 9, 10 position, especially at the bookends as they call them, 1 and 10. It's a long time between your picks, so you have a very different strategy than you did have if you're in the middle of the rounds. Because if you pick, say, let's go into the 3rd round. So you've got the first pick in the 3rd round. If you're drafting at number 1. You don't have another pick for 20 picks, so you've got to look ahead to those next 20 picks, or those next 20 predicted picks in your league, and check out to see which one of those players, if you want a player and he's going to go in that 20 picks, even if he's going to be at that 20th pick, then you're best to pick him now. It's a lot different tactics to what it would be if you're in the middle of your draft, in the middle rounds, middle of your order. But yeah. So let's see, he got So taking the PC got timed out, and he picked up Peter Beethan. The folks obviously can't hear me that I'm drafting with, but what I've typically found is there are 2 fly halves that you can target in the middle rounds and the late rounds, because you don't see them on these on the rankings page yet, so a lot of people will miss them, and they are George Ford, which is a great pick, and also AJ McGinty, who's way down the list. So if I look at fly half here, you see George Ford here is at number 43, so he doesn't even appear on the list. And if I go down even further, yeah, I think there's put him down as Alan McGinty. So he's down there. So it's just an interesting little point to note. So I'm going to keep them in my back pocket. I'm going to try and get George Ford, but if all that turns to custard and someone's sneaky in my league, then I'll probably have to pull the trigger a little bit earlier on AJ McGinty. But we'll see how this kind of tactic plays out. So it looks like Oyston Out got auto drafted there as well. So he's online. Well, they're online at one point, but appear to have either been hit by a bus or have fallen asleep at the wheel, which is a little bit of a criminal crime, to be honest. And it's the first time in Aviva Premiership, so you give folks a little bit of a little bit of length of rope. But it does frustrate a lot of managers when you get, when they use up the 90 seconds every single time. Now it's okay if you're actually using that time to pick it, but yeah, when the auto pick took me down, it's a bit frustrating. But hey ho, sometimes it can't be helped, and Oyston Out may well be getting the beers in, who knows. One thing I did actually notice, because I went Owen Farrell yesterday in my league, and my team looked really, really good. I drafted Don Armand quite early because he's a step above every other lock. But I got some really stud outside backs and fly halves, but I was quite light at loose forward. My top loose forward was Tamana Harrison, and then my next one was Ross Moriarty, and after that I didn't even have a bench cover, and my midfielders were a bit weak as well. So I'm going to see if I can get Manu Tuilagi in here and one of those top loose forwards as well. So Tuilagi's down at 26 here, and let's see how that goes. So who have we got? Stephen Myler went, Bagbus the Great, so Stephen Myler taking the PC, Peter Beethan. Good question. So Bagbus the Great, JP Peterson. Yeah, JP Peterson, that's a pretty good pick in the second round. I'll be pretty happy with that. Who's going to go zero fly half? So for those that are that play NFL fantasy as well, it's that time of the year at the same time as a lot of drafts are coming off the board. And there's a whole similar the zero RB theory, which is that you can pick up a serviceable running back quite late on in the drafts, and your first bunch of picks should be wide receivers Rob Gronkowski. So yeah, good call. It's an interesting one. He's actually alluding to something that I am trying to do. So George Ford is a little bit later, and AJ McGinty is going to be quite late as well. And there's also a couple of other ones as well. If you think that Callum Sheedy is going to be starting over Tusapisi, you could employ that theory as well. Jinx auto drafted, and Jinx got Christian. Yeah. Some people get frustrated with that when someone's not there and it falls off and they get auto drafted, one of the best players in fantasy rugby. But that's how it is. Some people don't want to auto draft. Some people don't want to draft themselves. Some people just their internet connection drops off, or they get hit by a bus, and that's why that we have this auto draft facility, so that folks get a fairly decent team. Even if they can't be there. Let's see what Justin's going to do. So he went outside back with his first pick. He's following a very similar path to me with Nathan Hughes. So I've got a choice now. So I do want to go either loose forward or midfielder here. I want to get Manu Tuilagi, but I'm happy with either of Picamals. I'll be happy with any of those top 4 loose forwards. But I've only got one chance to get Manu Tuilagi. So I'm going to go Manu Tuilagi. He was such a difference maker last year. If we ran the stats and just looking at his points per game versus the next midfielder, which was Dolman playing out of position, he was incredible. Now, he's obviously going to be away, either via England or disciplinary, but either way he'll be away. Yeah, see, you've also got to be aware with a lot of... Oh, Jesus, see, that was very lucky. So you see what happened there? So there's 4 auto picks before me, so they picked up the 2 highest loose forwards. And so we've got Picamals and Faletau in there, and then Milkman picked Billy Vanapola. So my last loose forward is that I really wanted was Thomas Waldron, and I'm not actually all that happy with him. I wanted one of the other 3. I wanted one of Picamals, Faletau, or Vanapola. I'm a bit surprised that all those 3 went, but I guess having those 2 auto draft picks in there make it a bit difficult. So I'll go with Thomas Waldron and see what my team looks like there. Top try scorer last year. I can't see it happening again, but let's see. Now, in a real draft, I wouldn't congratulate anyone, and I wouldn't say that. I would make sure you do as much as you can in this chat facility to unsettle managers, and I'll show you a little bit later about a couple of these. But if you can distract them, if you can take a little bit of their time... Oh, hang on, I'm worried what happened there. I think George Ford just went. Just incredibles. He's been reading my playbook. That's very good, well done, sir. Textbook from him so far. Right, so now I'm in a bit of a battle to find a fly half. So starting fly halves I've got is Tom Heathcote really now, and AJ McGinty. Callum Sheedy also is a possibility. I could try and be a bit of a and get Henry Slade or back up Alec Glazowski or someone like that, but I'm not quite in that territory yet. This is exactly what we talked about yesterday with Ollie Silverton on the podcast, and if you haven't checked that out, do go and have a listen, because there's some great stuff in there around average draft position. But, excuse me, Alan McGinty, AJ McGinty, as actually known as, is way down on that list, but I'm not 100% sure out of these folks here who actually knows that AJ McGinty is down there. I suspect a few of them actually do. So I have to go in with the premise that these guys know what they're drafting, know what they're talking about, and I can't leave it late, especially now as that I've really exposed myself with no fly half. And now that Tom Heathcote's gone as well, so I might have to pull a trigger a lot earlier than I'd hoped. Either that, or I do choose Tusapisi, who ironically is going to be auto-drafted by taking the PC, top quality name. Either that, or I go the Bristol fly-half situation and handcuff that, but I just don't think that's going to happen. So I probably am going to have to pick AJ McGinty. Now it's just a matter of when should I pick him. So we have a look at my team over here. It's not a bad start. I've got a difference maker at midfielder. I've got, in my opinion, a top outside back. Now a lot of people might debate where the good is, but I've just taken Viano on the premise that I don't need to back him up because he's going to be playing bar injury all the time, and I'm going to need to back Tuilagi up, so I need to use a bench spot on him. So you'll see that that's the way that you need to structure your team is around, you know, which players you select and the makeup of your bench spots. So not too unhappy with the way that it started. As I said, I don't particularly like Thomas Waldron, but he should be okay still. Just have a look at that picks. Taking the PC did not go TCPC, he went Dan Robson, which is an interesting one. Dan Robson was the highest points per game for a halfback last year, but yeah, over Greg Laidlaw, I'm not sure. I suspect that's the next highest outside halfback on the board. It is Greg Laidlaw. So my next two picks, I might see if I can get a Laidlaw and another outside back, and then I might have to look at securing that OB spot. That fly half spot. Yeah, difficult one. Frank Halai is still on the board. I hope he falls to me. Is he going to fall to me? No, we've got one. We've got two offline drafts, so no, I've got no chance of getting him. So that's the kind of, you need to look forward in your draft and see, you know, what's going to fall to you and what's not. So my next highest is Cooper Vuna, outside back. But I might go Greg Laidlaw actually there, because I think he's going to come on a lot of folks' radar. He's not on this page yet, so sometimes that means that if you don't have a strategy going in, then potentially, you don't know who's coming up in front of you, and players like that go missing. So let me have a look at what outside backs are available. Conover might not be a bad shout, but I think I'd probably go Sonotti over Conover in that kind of position. I mean, there's some really quality players down here that are unranked as well. I mean, Johnny May was a good call that someone mentioned on our pod. Coming back to fitness. Yeah, so there you go. Two auto-drafted picks, Frank Halai. And for those that have been listening to our Super Roku podcast, you'll know that I prefer to call Frank Halal. It's happened many times. See, there's a good pick there. He's down in the weeds as well. So there's a player that I actually might look at targeting. Sonotti is still quite a wee way off this list. I think he actually may be way down the list. I remember doing this yesterday. Yeah, see, there he is. There, he's down at. Well, that's ridiculous. That number. Don't worry about that. But he's down way down the list. So you're going to have to know, and you're going to have to target him to actually see it. So there we go. Taking the PC, great pick. He's seen Chris Ashton, he knows what he's doing as well, so yep, smart pick. And again, I would never say it to his face, and I'd never say it on the chat board. You're probably more likely to say something like, So I'll probably I'll do this for I'll do this for 3 more rounds, and then we'll see. I don't want to make this video too long, but it's just a bit of an idea of what's happening. So I'll do it for a few more rounds. I'll see if I can pick up Greg Laidlaw, and I'll see if my fly halves play out with an outside back as well. So the picks that would be Cooper Vuna as well. That was an offline pick. That was an auto drafted pick. Couple of auto drafts off the board. Schockberger and Rob Miller. Okay. I'm pretty sure we all know what's about to happen here with Just Incredibles. Yeah, let's see how this pans out. But any money that Greg Laidlaw comes off the board. Interesting. Keely Beale. Yeah, he should be a difference maker. I hear November is roughly when he's going to be back. So let's secure Greg Laidlaw now before we have a chance to lose him. So now I really do want to strengthen that outside back position. I'm actually still pretty comfortable that Tusapisi. So he picked up Gonover. Yeah, good call. Mike Haley, Pennell, Tamana Harrison and Mike Brown went after that. So it's back to me now. Differing reports on Sean Maitland, isn't there? Half the folks that we spoke to on the podcast, preseason podcasts, have said that he's going to be a stud. Other thinks he's going to be a backup to Good at 15 when Good goes away on international duties. I'm not 100% sure which way it's going to go. I'm not sure I want to take that risk. Will Allison's a good call. Who did Harry Mallender? I like that pick as well. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you can see we've got taking the PC thinking about his pick. You've got to make people uncertain, get a bit of bias dissonance. Do I want George North? Northampton will go pretty well. It's going to be away for a wee bit, but I've got an outside back that's going to play the whole time, so I'll get someone that may have upside, and I understand that. Well, I think Northampton's going to go quite well. And George North had a particularly good Olympics, if you know what I mean, so I'm pretty happy selecting him. So let's have a look at the team on the left, Laidlaw. Let's have a look at Justin's team because he's drafting quite close to me. Alex Skew, Curtly Beale, George Ford, Nathan Hughes. Yeah, Don Armand, I think he might have just selected that now, did he? Yeah, he did. That's a good pick. He is just that big difference because he's playing, he's listed as a lock in the game and he's playing loose forward or maybe for Exeter, so yeah, that's a pretty good pick. It seems early to take a lock, but for someone that is also not going to go away on international duty, it's a pretty good pick. So I still see Tusapisi there as well, so the way that I kind of look at it is that I've got two options still at fly half. I've got the Bristol fly half situation, or I've got the Sale fly half situation. So I do have options. As soon as Tusapisi goes off the board, then I have to start worrying about who's going to be that. Then I have to worry about picking up AJ McKenzie. But for now, I can probably continue stockpiling midfielders and outside backs, and maybe even loose forwards. Front rows and locks for the auto-drafted teams, for the guys that offline the bag plus, and also for the auto-drafted, they tend to come off in around the 9th and 10th round. So I don't have to worry too much about it right now, because we're still only in just the end of the 5th going into the 6th. So if I wanted a specific fly half or anything like that, then I can still actually wait until that time. As it happens, I'm not really targeting any front row. I would like to have one of the top 3 plus. My kind of middle of the range front row that I like to get is Sale, and that's purely just on the fact of who's the guy that's playing? I want to say Neiled. Yeah, Neiled. That jumps into the loose forwards every now and again. But I'm happy if I don't get any of the top loose front rows, and I really only am targeting the top 2. If I don't get either of those 2, then I'm probably not going to draft one until quite late. So let's see what happens then. Oh, good God. Right, so I have to grab. So AJ McGinty's gone. I now need to get TCPC stat, and then I'll have to back up Callum Sheedy. So let's have a look at the fly halves. I mean, the alternative is obviously Mike Delaney. That's staring me in the face as well. Let's have a look. Who have we got backing up Mike Delaney? Might be a case of seeing who's on the bench first game up for Delaney. So let's. Bristol or Newcastle? TCPC, Mike Delaney. TCPC picks up points when he plays, so I might lean towards TCPC and then grab Callum Sheedy. And the times that he doesn't play, I'll just plug in Callum Sheedy, and maybe I grab Mike Delaney as well. So I might do that actually. It's kind of that theory of, again, with people in the NFL, if you don't grab a quarterback early, you don't get one of those stud ones, is then grabbing a couple of serviceable mid-rangey type ones. So I don't generally advise on doing that, but when you're down in the dirt in TCPC and Mike Delaney land, it's probably not a bad shout to grab both of them, and then back either one of them up. Don't think you're going to need to back up Mike Delaney just looking at it. You can probably grab him first game up. So grab both fly halves and then see which one turns out to be decent in the first couple of rounds. Decide which one to handcuff and then jettison the other one. So we'll do 2 more rounds. See if I can get that fly half situation sorted, and then we'll go from there. Let's have a look at Justin's team now. Yeah, that's good. I wanted to see Milkman, who went quite early as well. Yeah, I'd gone with Melander. Yeah, it's a good team. That's a good team. But folks are doing it at the back end. Light at midfield. He's got 2 starting fly halves who are decent, but it's not a bad idea. So he's doing something similar to what we'll probably do as well. I say he, I don't know this person's opinion. But they're doing something similar to me as well. So AJ McGinty or Stephen Myler. So 2 kind of middle of range, and he's obviously going to figure out which one of those guys pops as well. Let's see what happened. Yeah, Duncan Taylor, that's not a bad shout. He actually ended up on my team yesterday that I drafted. It's a decent call. You'll be solid. I suspect you'll play a lot. Yeah, no, that's decent. So let's look at Team B. Team B has a full team. Oh no, they still need another midfielder, so that's okay. I'll probably pick up Deuce here and Mike Delaney, then grab Callum Sheedy in the later round. So let's see if that plays out, that I can get those two. Sometimes it's quite good to have someone on the clock that's taking all the time. It gives you a little bit of time to think, especially early on. And if there's a few auto-drafted teams, stuff happens pretty quickly. So it's difficult to track at times. So sometimes it's good to just be able to grab a bit of your breath and see how it actually, and evaluate and make some decent decisions. That was an auto pick. I think it's an auto pick. Not too sure actually. It seems early to pick him, but anyway. See what Justin runs with. Open that out and see what happens. Justin Credence picks Matt Tamua. Stocking up on ex-Super Rugby players. Right, let's grab Tusapisi before we have too many dramas with that. Milkman does. Yeah, Simon Hammersley, that's a good pick. I like Simon Hammersley, he'll go well. But for me here, Mike Delaney, so let's see what his next one goes for. So after the Mike Delaney pick, what I'm probably going to do is wait till is start looking at an extra loose forward. So I'll probably look at Matt Kaveshik is a really good one. I like him, so I'm probably going to draft him in the round after this. So I'll grab Delaney now, but I'll probably grab him, Mike Kaveshik, in the next round, and then I'll start looking at outside backs. And the good example was Sonotti quite way down the list. Johnny May's another good one that I think should go okay. Let me just pull out a couple more here. Van Dell will be decent. But this is where I start just piling up. I'm not sure a dog will get the start, but he's a decent shout as well. Sonotti's down there. Ashi Tuala. It's 50-50 whether he's going to actually play, but he looks pretty lightning in a bottle. Nathan Earl. Alex Shaw's favourite Nathan Earl. And we should go right. So I'll probably grab either Nathan Earl or Rawaka as well on one of those. And you can see there's still a whole bunch of names here that should be decent, that you can grab. So yeah, cool time now. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this is useful to some folks. I know it's certainly been useful for me, because this is a draft that it went wrong. I'm drafting with a lot of folks that clearly know what they're doing, and that makes a big difference. You don't get it your own way, and that's the way drafts should be. So I've had to kind of swivel on the spot, and I know what my draft rankings are in mine. I'm referring to them on the desk beside me, so I know where I'm going with them, which made it a little bit easier to kind of pivot around and change positions and change strategy mid-draft. So we really encourage folks to do that now.